He's a man of the backcountry wild. He's a man with a backcountry style. Searching for treasure yet untold, up and down the creeks for his gold. And it's mine or bust, mine or bust, mine or bust, because it's in his blood and that's what a miner does. Just like the gold rushers of old, who live and died for their gold. With picks, packs, shovels, rifles in hand, up and down the creeks in the backcountry land. It's mine or bust, mine or bust, because it's in his blood and that's what a miner does.
Last time, we were working on the old sampling trench, and working our way down. We managed to uncover the old river and finding a trace of gold all the way down. We also headed down to the river to do a little panning. We managed to find a nice little flood layer of gold, easy for the taking, which made for a nice day. Gold panning out in the woods on a sunny day, you don't get much better. Brutus enjoys his day along the waterway the best way he knows how. And young Joshua just enjoys the day of collecting his gold. Brutus decided to jump head first in the white water, and Josh had to pull him out, but it was a lesson well learned. We also had a lot of rain over the last few days.
We're going to sit this one out for a little bit. It's one of them gray skies that's real bright. It just drops that heavy rain. It's just falling straight down. Going to make it a nightmare in that hole. All the clay. The steps are all clay. Slip and slide, that's for sure.
Well, the rain quickly passes and the sun's back out and quickly dries everything out. Back to work for us, sampling and opening up this old trench. We really need to get this project on the move and get it out of our way, as we have a lot to do this season, and this is just the beginning.
We're carving some more steps pretty soon. Jam-packed full of gold.
Yeah.
Get all the good stuff.
These two sure work and play well together, and I'm looking forward to our future on this mine.
Starting to get down there now. Running into some big boulders. Figure a way around this. It's raining so much. This clay is getting a little treacherous. This guy needs to take his time, watch his steps.
Oh, finally we're starting to make our way down through the flood layers and just hitting the old river once again. Even though I'm a little bit worried about moving these heavy rocks, but one can only do what one has to do, so it's time to get back into it. Finding the large river rock once again is definitely exciting, but one always has to take caution working in tight quarters. It's just part of the sampling project or being a placer miner. Every time I move a large rock I always daydream about an excavator, but back to sampling for me, because I need to prove the ground for further investment. Rock by rock, day by day, that's the life of a gold prospector. One day, all this work will pay off. They will sit back and relax and enjoy the fruits of your labor. And look back on all the work you've done and how far you've come. That's the life of a gold prospector. Well, my back seems to be doing quite well, but maybe it has to do with positive energies. I never liked shoveling snow, but I've always enjoyed being on my claims, digging holes, moving rock, and of course, finding a bit of gold. If there's one thing about this claim, other than it has some pretty decent gold, is the gold is always associated with large rock. If you read anything of the old prospectors, they pretty much said the same.
I'm gonna have a little fun with some dowsing rods or witching wands. When I was coming through here, they pulled always into this section here, and now we got it opened up. See these rods, they're pulling together. See, that's telling you that there's an energy path underneath my feet here. And it should be a fairly good one. It's just the black sands, the golds, any kind of metals running through the old channel where there's a bigger concentration of metallic minerals. I'm just guessing my thoughts of how the wands work. This is just energy paths through the magnetic poles, and as the energy travels through the trees and the air, goes through the ground, and just like electricity, it wants to follow the easiest path, so it'd either be water or a heavy iron black sand streak mixed with golds and stuff. I don't take them too serious, I just like to play with them. I know they do something. See, if you're pointing them down out from you, you see they're slowly pulling uphill against gravity, so I know that they do something. And they seem to like this spot right here, so hopefully underneath all this there's going to be a nice pocket of gold waiting for us.
Well, it's enough playing around with the dowsing rods. See, I don't take them too seriously, but it's time to get back to work, because I know one thing for sure. Digging a sample hole, processing the gravels, will show the gold, and you'll have the true story. We'll get all these hoses strung out through the bush. We'll get ready to run our first sample of the season, which I'm looking forward to, because I've been waiting all winter for this. Brutus thinks this is quite the fun game. It's all quite new to him, but he'll get into routine soon enough. I'll get this hose strung out. I'll take you for a little walk through the bush and show you some diggings from the past.
There you can see the old bench up above me here. The old river down here in last year's sample hole. That wall is probably about good 8-9 feet. Maybe a few feet of overburden in the top layers just from landslides of the clay and silts washed over as the creek diverted this way. Here you can see all the old workings. Got 2 stacks of rock here. What they were doing is they're cutting away at this bench here. They're probably carting away little mine cars on tracks. I found tracks buried here and there in the river down to a big river sluice, and they're just throwing the big rock with the piles, just keep cutting their way in. Pretty much the same technique I was doing along this edge. But yeah, I can definitely see why they're after this section. A lot of nice gold in here. See, they cut a great big trench going up this side right through this old bench. This old river continues straight across the bush. If you walk up through here, you can even see the gradual altitude change going down as you go through here. So you definitely know it's Old River. It's going against the hillside. The angle this way, the Old River's dropping away. The guy just opens it up. There's the river. The gold's there, and the gold's there. There's tailing piles like this all along the creek here. So for them to put that much hand labor in, must have been yielding pretty good gold. Had a nice little system down. You can see how well this land's reclaimed itself. Like when these guys left, they just left it as was. And the land itself is growing a forest. All the vegetation just back like a natural bush. So as long as things are done on a reasonable scale, things will come back, especially with today's machine mining. To reclaim the land, do things properly, and within 50 years you'll have a nice forest again.
The further down you go, the harder it gets. So you need to build a stockpile up. There's no point running the Highbanker and wasting fuel until we get a nice pile built up. We're managing quite well and working our way down. Pulling these rocks out of our way, and hopefully there's some good gold in this ground.
This one right here?
Yeah, down the bottom. See if there's any gold in that clay.
Okay.
A small rock mixed in it, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not too much though, it's just a little pan.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot.
Well, what if you have more gold?
Alright. Well, we could be throwing away gold if there's gold in there, right?
Oh yeah.
Pays the check.
Yeah.
Well, we have a good stockpile built up, so we're going to flash this pump up. Last year, my old pump gave in, and I was forced to buy this new one. But I'm actually quite liking it, because it sat all winter, and it fired right up on the first pull. Throttling up the pump, and listening to the RPMs. Feeling the pressure in the hose is a lot easier than walking back and forth to get the proper water flows. Little Broody really don't seem to care too much for my pump, but you'll have to get used to that. So he runs up the trail ahead of me, but like a good dog, waits for me to catch up. Brutus is really slowing down, but you hear something unfamiliar around that corner. But you'll get used to that soon enough. Well, we're back at it. Washing gravels for gold. I'm sure Josh is just ecstatic. clay sure can hold some good gold, but proper scrubbing is needed. We managed to run the material for the day, and now it's time to shut down and do our cleanup.
Birch bark.
Dit is een boot.
Birch bark.
Someone's been chewing on it.
There's more than that.
More?
Yeah, look. Oh man. I was just finished shutting down and running in the rain most of the day. Pretty slick on the clay. We're running the top of the old river there. Top 3 feet of the old river, so we'll see what we get in that. Should be lots of black sands. Yeah, Josh is going to get a fire going for the evening here. And I'll pan this down and see what we get. Well, so far, we did a gold in there, lots of black sand. Still got a long way to pan it down yet. That's what I typically expect at the top 3 feet of the old river there. See if Cadet Cooper here can get his fire going. Huh? Well, it ain't looking like we're rich. Not rich yet.
Well, finding all the right material, lots of black sands. The gold is telling me something a little different.
Yeah, just all the fine flake. What would I expect for running in the top layers there? A lot of overburden mixed in. Just starting to get down into the good stuff. It's always good to run sampling like this because you just never know. Things could change. You could miss out on something, but yeah, it's pretty typical of what I'm used to. Yeah, we'll see what's a little further down though.
Well, I guess I didn't learn my lesson from last season. Setting a gold pan down with gold in it, and this is what happens. Well, the gold's clean and the fire started. Everything's in order. Off to the side, there's a couple male robins fighting over territory. So it's good entertainment to sit back and watch. I've always enjoyed robins nesting across my claim. They are one great alarm system and will always let you know when something is in the area. Their calls are pretty recognizable, and you'll be able to tell the difference between calling for a mate and something's not quite right. It's pretty easy to see who owns this block, sitting up high with his chest all puffed out. As the sky darkens and night falls, the imagination begins to soar, with the feeling of eyes everywhere. The sun's up and the start to a new day, and the beginning to our everyday routine.
Good all day.
The beginning to a new day. Me and Brutus go down into the sampling hole and check things out. Down in the bottom, there's a small toad. For some reason, these toads really like my sampling holes. I think because it's cooler, and moths probably drop in, and earthworms crawl out. But we're gonna have to get this guy out of here and find him a safer home. This toad is pretty mellow and relaxed, but maybe it's not the first time I've pulled him out of a hole. We found a new place for him a little further away. Sure be nice when this hole's done and the questions are answered, we can move on to some new ground and explore this area a little bit more.
What happened, Broodies? You okay? What happened to him? He's falling and he can't get up, Broody. What are you gonna do? I don't think he cares. What's wrong with him? Oh, he's okay. He's okay.
Oh, no, no.
Brutus. Babies don't do that.
Brutus seems very happy Josh is okay. We dig the rest of the day away and create a large stockpile. There's something down in the bottom of this hole that's really interesting to me. Things have dramatically changed. We have a good yard material to run, mostly old river, with some of the overburdens mixed in, and a new layer down below that looks a lot like a slide material. Running the last of the material, we shut the Highbanker down and get ready to do a clean out. Later we'll look down in the sampling hole and get a good idea of what's happening down below. While panning down the material down to the last bit of concentrate. Lots of black sand, a bit of fine gold, and a few coarse pieces as well. Learning my lesson, I'm not leaving this pan sit around for very long.
Well, I think we're gonna abandon the old sampling trench here. Pretty much learned everything I need to know. There's an old river in behind us here that over time has been diverted by landslides from the hill in behind.
This slide has created multiple diversions over time.
Learned everything I pretty much need to know. That there's old river material in behind us here that's gold bearing. And stepping down towards the modern channel.
This is a side view to the old sampling trench. The old river worked down and was resting on a false bedrock of clay and gravels.
14 feet down in this section right here in this sampling hole, and there's just the side of another river that's underneath this ground here.
A cross-section view of the old rivers, the heavy river bed sliding down to its new channel, slowly working its way down to the modern river of today.
We're going to fill everything back in, and then we're going to go open up an old section where the old timers left off. I figure they did quite a bit of work in this area, and they were just getting into the material, so it'd be interesting to open it up and see what they were chasing down. Yeah, we got a lot of work to go, so we better get going. Well, this is our new site. This is where the old gold rush guys are digging their trench in behind us here for a flume. We got a big hollow down in here. All through this bush back in here looks like a high and dry channel that was just left. It doesn't have much for overburden. It's more of an organic layer. But has a lot of fractured bedrock, so I got high hopes that there'll be a nice bedrock zone in here. We just started to hit the old gravels and old sands of the old river back in here. So we got a lot of work to go yet to open this up. And we'll probably be pretty slow going because the days are getting real hot. The evening's nice and cool, so do a little bit of work here in the evening, but in all reality we're kind of burnt out from the heat of the day. Okay?
Yeah. Tiring.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be some nice gold in here. We find a bedrock zone would be a definite plus. Find the old canyon pools and such. There could be some nice gold stacked up in there. But a lot of work to go yet before we see any results or any reward. Now we're starting to pull some samples out. We're still basically on the surface here. Got all my river material, my black sands, small showing of gold, but nothing serious yet. So basically that's telling me to keep on digging.
Well, a lot of work was done, a few questions answered. We settle in for one last night, as I need to get Josh out of here in the morning for him to take a trip down south.
Found some bark all scraped off. It's probably from a moose eating bark in the winter, since it doesn't have any plants or anything to eat.
Good power food for you.
He's a man of the backcountry wild. He's a man with a backcountry style. Searching for treasure yet untold. Up and down the creeks for his gold, and it's mine or bust. Mine or bust. Mine or bust, because it's in his blood, and that's what a miner does. Just like the gold rushers of old, who live and died for their gold. With picks, packs, shovels, rifles in hand, up and down the creeks of the backcountry land. It's miner or bust. Miner or bust, because it's in his blood and that's what a miner does.
That's a good boy.